Some people are coming just a little bit late from dinner. And sometimes it takes a little bit extra to get out of the Star. So what we'd like to ask you to do is please just move toward the center, and then when people do come in between a number, they can just take a seat. After we turn out the lights, we don't care if you're in your right seat or not. So if you could just sort of cuddle up a bit in the center, and you'll help us with those that come just a little bit late. All right, thank you so much for that. Good evening. The 30th anniversary of the Cowboy Poetry Gathering. Whoever thought we would make it this far? But the good news is that this is just the beginning. The theme of this year's gathering, at the 25th, we really looked back. We couldn't believe what we had done. This is the 30th, and we're looking forward. We're looking toward the future, passing the mantle, and it's a wonderful thought. It's the 30th anniversary of the Cowboy Poetry Gathering. It's the 150th anniversary of the state of Nevada. Give this great state a round of applause. I was, just a little bit earlier today, I was doing the math. A little bit earlier today, I could do math, and realized, it's been a long Cowboy Poetry Gathering, and realized that for 20% of the years that Nevada has been a state, Elko has hosted the National Cowboy Poetry Gathering. That's an extraordinary thing. And you know, I really do think that cowboy poetry is its own nation, or at least its own state. And by about midnight tonight, you'll think that cowboy poetry may well be its own altered state. We have a wonderful show tonight, and the title of this show is Anthems Past and Future. And I got to, you know, when I was thinking about starting off this show tonight, I just sort of got to thinking about that word anthem, and where does that word come from? And it comes from the Greek root antiphony. And phone, like the telephone. Phone is the voice. Phony in Greek, it's the voice. Antiphony is the answer. So antiphony, the anthem, it's the call and response. And an anthem is the song of a culture. We have the national anthem, the anthem of cowboy poetry, the anthems, the many anthems that have happened through this wonderful art form, and the songs that accompany it. They're the songs of a culture. They call out to us and we respond. There's something about music and about poetry that is a call and a response and an inspiration. Tonight we have a really wonderful lineup to wrap up this 30th Cowboy Poetry Gathering. I want to start out just introducing Brenn Hill, the closest here to my left. And Brenn, what that tells me is I don't need to introduce him, but you got to indulge me. Brenn came here when he was 12 years old. And we were just talking backstage right before he came here. His family had taken a pack trip, and they had a tape with them of Cowboyography, Ian Tyson's wonderful album, Cowboyography. And Brenn just played it over and over and over, and it just really spoke to him. And then he got here, and he realized where it came from. And met Buck Ramsey and so many of the great voices. And he loved music. He already wanted to be writing his songs. But those songs spoke to him. The voice, the response to the voice. And now Brenn is a great songwriter who's inspiring young songwriters himself. On the very end is Dave Stamey, who grew up cowboying in Montana and California. Fell in love with Burl Ives and Monty Robbins and so many of the great singers, became a singer himself. And Dave is a cowboy singer, but he's also a Cowboys singer. He's a singer who sings so true to the life that he's the singer the Cowboys want at their gatherings. And Dave Stamey. And the person who really doesn't need an introduction here is Waddie Mitchell.
Elko's Own.
Elko's Own, and Nevada's poet laureate of the sesquicentennial. Before this thing got started, Waddie Mitchell was not the first cowboy poet that Hal Cannon heard. That was Eldon Walker in Wells. Waddie was the second one. And Hal, being a folklorist, he heard one Eldon recite cowboy poems. He thought, that's amazing. That man is unique. And then he met Wadi, and he met Wadi at an arts and crafts fair here. And with Ross Knox and a couple other people hitching horsehair and braiding rawhide. And then Wadi recited a couple of poems. As a folklorist, if two people do it, that's folk. And then you get to thinking it's, there's probably a culture behind it. And Hal got to talking to Wadi, and Wadi started telling him a bit about the recitation of poems, the memorization of poems, that some people were writing their own poems. And Wadi has been so seminal to this gathering from the very first, in terms of even talking about, to Hal, where this came from, what it meant. They got to talking about putting something together, and Wadi understood it had to be from the Cowboys, for the Cowboys. I really don't, Wadi, I really don't know if there would be a cowboy poetry gathering if it wasn't for Wadi, and I just want to acknowledge him for that. And now I'm just going to sit back with the rest of you and enjoy this show.
Wow, I'm impressed. I better be good. On down the morning, the far hills show traces of snow. The day come a-dawning like trim rock where junipers grow. While this country is a friend of mine, its voice is the voice that I hear. And when time leaves me behind, I won't mind if it leaves me right here. Sweetgrass County line, down where the Yellowstone flows, sunlit waters shine, old railroad bridge, cottonwoods grow. While this country, I would take you in to a sky hayfields green, thunderstorm afternoon rain, just like some new dream. Once you've seen it, you're never the same. Ah, this country, how it calls to me, its voice, how it rings in my ear, and when the light finally falls on me, it's alright. It falls on me here. Ah, this country is a friend of mine. Its voice is the voice that I hear, and when time leaves me behind, I won't mind. And it leaves me right here. Yes.
I've been asked this year to write a poem to celebrate Nevada's 150th birthday. And although I've done it twice for Nevada Sessions, I was asked to do it again. I call this Dame Nevada. There's a basin wrought of reason, tortoise dry and clean of air, where rivers hike to meet their fate, get lost and disappear, where grand adventure had a say and different would prevail, where only hardy life hangs on to all that it entails, where hidden hints of Eden are revealed to those who seek, and where bristlecone stands sentinel from high atop her peaks, where hidden hints of Eden are revealed to those who seek. And I just said that. Where bristlecone stands sentinel, I see doubling it up makes it more interesting. Stand high above her peaks, where the show shown and the Paiute and the Washoe stories tell, if we but live within her wishes, we will prosper and live well. Deemed and destined Dame Nevada, cloaked in sage and sunset crowned, dealing, making sense and friends and legends. Turning prudence upside down, she alludes to and may prove to be enigma in disguise, dealing wisdom and compassion. Still refusing compromise, she's the rugged scent of essence, and immense in scope and feel, mountainous, and rightly stubborn, cold and sensuous and real, open-minded and closed-fisted and diverse in all she's of, and as tight with her resources as she's liberal with her love. And she settled hardy settlers, and she dished prospectors' ore, and she was booming as the U.S. fought its most uncivil war. And when there's have and needed, bureaucratic tape gets cleared, so she's flown the flag of statehood now 150 years. And as stewards of her masterpiece, the standard's been set high. Be protective and responsive to her needs and feed her pride. And as Nevadans, we should not forget what native stories tell. If we but live within her wishes, we will prosper and live well.
Frost on the wheatgrass, frost on the sage, on the aspen leaves, steam over the lake. Blue autumn skies turning colder by the day. It's time to get this roundup party underway. Buckle on your leggings, get your saddles cinched up tight, for the roundup fire burns tonight. Cattle on the skyline, cattle through the trees, riders close behind them, and freedom on the breeze. And this way of life is getting older by the day. It's time to get this roundup party underway. So rosin up your ropes and spur your pony quick and light, for the roundup fire burns tonight. I spent the summer waiting, working on the land. I'll spend the winter waiting for the time to brand. I'll spend a lifetime riding through the sage. It's burning in my blood, there is no other way. And you can call me crazy, say whatever you will say, but it's time to get this roundup party underway. Buckle on your leggings, get your saddle cinched up tight, for the roundup fire burns tonight. Yeah, the roundup fire burns tonight.
I was working for an outfitter on the eastern slope of the Sierra Nevada and taking dunnage trips and doing supplying trail crews and so forth. And they sent me to a place called Steelhead Lake, which I'd never been to before, but my boss drew a map in the dirt with his finger, and that just cleared everything up. This is high alpine country, and over 10,000 feet, most of it, and lots of pumice, rocks, and dead trees, and a lot of times the trails are just not much more than a snake track through the rocks. It's kind of a suggestion of a trail. But I found my way up there and unloaded my mules, whatever it was I was dragging up there, and I ate my lunch, and it was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I got my mules strung up and got on my horse, and I turned away from the campsite there to go back to the trail, and the trail was absolutely gone. And I said, well, what happened to the trail? And you ask your horse, and he doesn't know what you're talking about. The light had shifted into afternoon, and the country that I had just ridden through now looked completely different. And that kind of country, you have to look for landmarks, a rock or a dead tree that reminds you of your ex-wife, or something that you can kind of lock onto to give you a way back. And I hadn't done that. Fortunately, the horse I was riding was a company horse, and he knew the way, and I just gave him his head, which is something we should all learn to do more of. And he took me right back down to the main trail, but the fact that always stuck with me, the fact that you could ride a piece of country and the light could shift and you've got an entirely new piece of country. And that's sort of the genesis of this little song. The horse I ride is old, he has served me well.
like old tobacco, rich and warm. He is old, he is sound, my rain chains ring like bells. We fit well together as we glide above the storm. And the boots I wear are old, but they have served me well. Leather like old tobacco, cracked and brown. The tops are scuffed and broken, but my spur chains ring like bells. My rowels gleam just like silver, and up here we spurn the ground. And the trails I ride on new, even though I've made this circle many times before. For they change with every season and with every shift of light, from the summit where the clouds fall to the sweep, the valley floor. And the saddle I ride is old, but it has served me well. Leather like old tobacco, buffed and smooth. It fits me like a friend, with no secrets left to tell. Astride I make the circle and I ride where I choose. And the trails I ride are new, even though I've made the circle many times before. For they change with every season and with every shift of light, from the summit where the clouds fall to the sweep, the valley floor. And the life I live goes on, it fits me oh so well. Old and new together, evergreen. I mount my horse at dawning, my heart rings like a bell, and we ride through the canyons where the air is fresh and clean.
You know, it used to be when we started this thing, we'd go out and jam music and drink and tell stories all night long. All week long, I've been sneaking off and getting to bed early. Well, otherwise I wouldn't make it. I mean, you know, but I got home in bed last night in time to turn on TV. I wasn't even tired enough to just go to sleep. So I watched this documentary on drugs, and you know something, that's really the only good way to watch a documentary. But when I was practicing to watch documentaries, I wrote this one. Now, Elmer really isn't liked much by us neighbors or his peers, for he's pulled his shady dealings and shenanigans for years. Still, we all felt sorry for him when the news had got around that chemotherapy's the reason he was shedding hair and pounds. So we all pitched in. We made sure chores around his ranch got done, and if things in town were needed, one of us would make the run. And the women did his laundry, cooked his meals, and brewed his tea, for as sorry as he is, he's part of our community. Then one day my wife came to me, said that she and Elmer talked, and for all that folks had done for him and saying thanks, he balked. But it was an envelope I'd left him that was the reason he believed to be the most important present that he ever had received. You see, I'd given him 9 coupons to Hank's Day Spa, Bar, and Lodge. Each one good for 1 free mud bath and a deep tissue massage. He said he hadn't aimed to use them. In fact, he almost threw them out till he heard he'd cure most everything from hemorrhoids to the gout. And, well, the local Indians believe that mud has magic healing power, and whenever they get sick or hurt, they lay in it for hours. Plus, the doctor had just told him that the chemo wasn't working, so it couldn't hurt to try it, because old death was right there lurking. So we went, and first Hank had him strip and lay down on this cot, and with his big old calloused hands, he squished out all the knots. Then he poked his thumbs down through his meat and traced along his bones while Elmer screamed and pleaded, gasping air through painful groans. When that torture session ended and Elmer's laying sore and red, Hank completely covers him with mud. And that's when Elmer said, "I ain't never been one to believe in silly ancient lores, but I believe I feel the cancer being sucked out through my pores." So he went back 8 more times for that same treatment every day, and he's plumb sure it is the reason that his cancer went away. And though his doctor only pooh-hooed, the whole story is absurd. He cannot explain the hows or whys of Elmer being cured. My wife then took my hand and squeezed. Her eyes welled up with tears. She said, "You know, at times you still surprise me, even after all these years. Because those coupons you gave Elmer, though not really commonplace, just might have been the reason for his sudden disgrace." That ain't right. That was the first thing that rhymed. Might have been the reason. My wife then took my hand and squeezed. Her eyes welled up with tears and said, "You know, at times you still surprise me, even after all these years, because those coupons you gave Elmer, though not really commonplace, just might have been the thing that proved to be his saving grace." Now, leaving well enough alone is something I ain't learned. I suppose I could have just accepted her kind praises falsely earned, but no, for once I had to fall back on the teachings of my youth, and I sure spoiled that nice moment by my telling her the truth. I said, "Son, honey, I was given them 10 coupons by some hippie-looking folk that I let camp by the creek once. But they proved a sorry joke, because after Hank massaged me once, there's no doubt in my head that rather go through that again, I'd just soon be dead. And as for that there mud bath, I guess all I've got to say is it seeped in my nooks and crannies, and some's in there yet today. Look, I'd no idea it was going to cure him. I just thought it couldn't hurt for him to practice, laying still, while covered up with dirt."
Change my plan here for a minute. Perfect. You know, I'm wearing a hat here tonight that was built by Waddie's son, Chaz Mitchell. And it's kind of unique. It's a rodeo crease. And, you know, I suppose I kind of decided to be a songwriter because I'm a Ian Tyson fan. But yeah. Also, you know, in the early 90s at the old Weber County Fairgrounds, there when you go to see a rodeo, there was at least 3 or 4 big old jacked up trucks blaring some Chris LeDoux in those days. And, I was driving down Riverdale Road in my dad's 79 flatbed truck, just kind of praying that I made it home. And the phone rang, and the voice on the other end said, "This is Chris LeDoux." And I said, "Well, sure it is, you know." And he said, "No, really." He says, "You know that song that you wrote about the old rodeo?" He says, about one hand in the rigging. He says, "That's a pretty good song. I kind of like that." And I think he had it in mind to record it, but just a few short months later he passed away. So this one is for LeDoux. And for the bronc rider that made this happen.
I've been driving half the night down this long and lonely highway. Seems there ain't no end in sight. Didn't make the short go, but if I make it to Cheyenne, there'll be another bronc to ride, and I just might have a chance if I keep one hand in the rigging, one hand on the wheel. No matter how far down the road I go, there's always one more rodeo. She'd like for me to settle down, as long as I'm still living. Keep one hand on the wheel, one hand in the rigging. Keeps me going. Sometimes I just don't know. For the years I spend riding, I don't have much to show. While she waits all alone, hoping I'll come back to stay. But there's always one more mile to drive down another endless highway, and I keep one hand in the rigging, one hand on the wheel. No matter how far down the road I go, there's always one more rodeo. She'd like for me to settle down, but as long as I'm still living, I keep one hand on the wheel, one hand in the rigging. Whoa. One hand in the rigging, one hand on the wheel. No matter how far down the road I go, there's always one more rodeo. She'd like for me to settle down, but as long as I'm still living, I keep one hand on the wheel, one hand in the rigging. Yeah, one hand on the wheel, one hand in the rigging. Oh.
What? Ruby. I'm running this show. Thank you very much for that. We'll see what we can get to. That's pretty good. That was really good. Smart aleck whelp. You know, when I like Brenn, when I started doing this first, I hadn't written that many songs, and I had to do the stuff that was already out there. And a lot of those songs didn't make any sense to me because they weren't written by cowboys. They were written by little bald-headed men in New York with pianos. They were, I know they were, because they all talked about this magical ranch somewhere. And you never really had to do any work on this ranch. Apparently, all you had to do was ride across it with your sweetheart. And the grass was always green, and the sky was always blue, and all of the horses wanted to be your friend. So one of the first songs that I wrote was in response to those little bald-headed men songs. And I think it's a more accurate portrayal of the cowboy and his lot in life. And incidentally, not this year, but last year, this song was the introduction music for the starting pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. I don't know why. I have no idea why. Speaking of baseball, of course, we're all aware of the big controversy about the Washington Redskins. Even the president chimed in about how they should change their name. And driving over here, I heard on the radio that they finally caved and they're going to change the name. Yeah, because it is so degrading and so negative and so just mean-spirited. They decided that they're going to drop the Washington and just be the Redskins. Oh my, it seems I've touched a nerve. Sleep in a bedroll of canvas. No seam's feed on your ears. Wind blows the dust just like buckshot, and I ain't never seen it rain much out here. Smell your own sweat in the evening. I wash up back to the galvanized tank. Nearest town's 40 miles. The cook here, he don't smile, and all these young horses are rank. But come and tie yippee-yi-yo on the back of my caballo. I won't be tie one on when I can. My spurs ain't on the ring much. I never did sing much, but I'm a sure enough buckaroo man. Cold fingers, stiff in the morning. By noon, it's 103. 5-year-old slicks in the canyon. I never a hint of a breeze. Jug-headed, hollow-back ponies provide all with hours of grief. There's snakes in the shade, there is joy on the grade, and a half a ton of grit between my teeth. But come and tie yippee-yi-yo on the back of my caballo. I won't be tie one on when I can. My spurs ain't on the ring much. I never did sing much, but I'm a sure enough buckaroo man. I said, come and tie yippee-yi-yo on the back of my caballo. I won't be tie one on when I can. My spurs ain't on the ring much. I never did sing much, but I'm a sure enough buckaroo man. A buckaroo man.
Yeah. I'll bet there's a bunch of you old fellers out there that's going to relate to this one. Well, I drove her all right to the shindig that night. Of course, I said it was just for the ride, but it probably bought me some dances, I thought, as I walked with her proudly inside. I paid her way in, we got her hand stamped, and then I was ready to go shake a leg, but we were met by some guys with stars in their eyes before I'd hung my hat on a peg. One asked, "May I, ma'am?" She offered her hand, so I waved as they went off to dance, and though she'd gone off with him, I still thought with a grin, won't be long now till I get my chance. By the wall were some chairs, so I took a seat there, and I marveled as she two-stepped around. Her blonde hair would flow as she danced to and fro, her feet barely touching the ground. An hour slipped by. I had no chance to try. It seemed hopefuls were lined to the door, but every once in a while she'd flash me a smile as she waltzed past me out on the floor. I was just going to go ask when Miss Tucker come past, all 5 foot and built somewhat round. She insisted one whirl, and I'll tell you, that girl pert near flung me plumb out of town. I'd barely recouped when Granny Colberry swooped me up for a Varsuvian. Then a schottish with Trish, who was once quite a dish. But all things up someday fall down. It was becoming apparent that with her full card, I daren't even dream of a dance with her besides. Why would she want to waste time with me? And I was just one night chauffeur. So except for one trip to the truck for a nip, I demoted myself to wallflower. I watched 2 flasks abused and 1 fight defused. Miss Tucker make cowpunchers cower. Seemed I'd sat there for days. Though I'd tried different ways, I couldn't get close to her at all. I don't know what I expect. Guess that's what you get when you come with the belle of the ball. I wished I'd stayed at the ranch when the band yelled, "Last dance!" When I turned to see standing right there by a whole herd of men doing their best to crowd in was that gal with the pretty blonde hair. She winked me her charm, took hold to my arm. All them fellers were sure looking sad when she said through the noise, "I'm real sorry, boys, but the last dance, I say for my dad."
I've thrown my set list in the garbage here. With that in mind, there's a little girl watching me at home on the internet tonight. And one day I'll be dancing with her to this, I guess. Maybe if Stamey will come over to Utah and play it for us. The sun is gone down, the night breeze is blowing, a white satin gown, her eyes are showing the last little girl. For one fleeting moment, the band singer calls Daddy's last waltz. Their eyes go searching to find one another. The tall cowboy whirling, a beautiful mother, and all of the dancers, the friends and the lovers, turn to see all of Daddy's last waltz. time to fiddle and guitar, and all of the dancers, the friends and the lovers stand in awe of Daddy's last waltz. And this song is over before it began. She'll turn to another, never again to be one little girl, one rancher's daughter. He often recalled Daddy's last waltz.
I guess we're on the romantic deal now. Is that what's... Can I get a little more vocal in the monitor, just a scotch, please, sir? Thank you very, very much. There's an echo, hear it ringing, up the mountain and down the other side. Listen close, hear it singing, catch it in your hand before it dies. There's a river, see it glisten, wild and winding and blue as the sky. Cup your hand in the water, sharp and cold as an eagle's cry. And it don't matter where we're going, we may stumble, we may fall, but it's the journey that's worth the knowing. That's what matters most of all, most of all. There is a breeze on the desert, comes along on a day like this. On your cheek, light as a feather, just as warm as a lover's kiss. And it don't matter where we're going, we may stumble, we may fall, it's a journey that's worth the knowing. That's what matters most of all, most of all. There is a woman walks beside me down every trail wherever it winds, up the mountain, along the river, we'll cross that desert side by side. And it don't matter where we're going, we may stumble, we may fall, it's a journey that's worth the knowing. That's what matters most of all, most of all.
Wow, yes. Okay, so I get this call, I don't know, 9 months ago. And they said, Waddie, we're trying to put all these shows together. You're an old bastard. So we're going to let you pick a show. If you got to do something, what kind of show would you do? And I said, well, I'd like to get Dave Stamey and Brenn Hill, because these guys are not only great musicians, listen to their lyrics. I love their poetry. I love the way they put thoughts together. I love the way they put words together. And then you put all that with that big of talent and those great guitars. You're in for a good one tonight if you don't already know that. I was asked by some fine people, Wadi, could you do that Walking Man for us? And I thought, well, I'd have to go through it, and I already had all this stuff planned. Yeah, I really work at the planning. And so I'm just going to do that. I didn't write this. A fella wrote this in 1917 in a book. His name is Henry Herbert Knibbs, Knibbs. Few of his things have made it down through the oral tradition, but once I heard some of the stuff through the oral tradition, I started collecting his books. His book called Songs of the Outlands, the very first poem in it was this poem, and I'd read it a number of times, but it had a funny rhyme and meter scheme, and it kind of never really hit me as that good a story until one night I was reading Yevgeny Yevtushenko, the great contemporary Russian poet, who actually came to Elko to find out what the hell would bring people to the middle of nowhere in the middle of the winter, because we don't have that tradition in the United States. And I got to hear him read some of his poetry, and this is a guy that spent time in jail in Russia because he said that the air he breathed was his own. And so when he read his poetry, he read it with a passion that even when he was reading in his native tongue of Russian, which I knew not a word of, still the hair on the back of my neck would stand up because he would read such a passion. I'd been reading his book, and so I would read it with passion, and I put it down. I picked this book up and just opened the page, started reading it. And once I found what I thought was the author's voice, I said, holy mackerel, I just found a brand new classic. It's called The Walking Man. Sunny summer day it was, while loping into Laramie, I overtook the walking man. I reined up, nodded how. He'd been a rider once, I knew. He smiled, but scarce aware of me. He said, if you'd like me to, I'll tell my story now. They'll tell you that I'm crazy, that my wits have gone to glory, but you mustn't be believing every Western yarn you hear. The one I'm about to tell you is a destiny. Maybe 100 times, 1,000 times a year. So I listened as the pony made his silent tracks beside me. Good people go to heaven. Do good horses go to hell? I slung one leg across the horn sideways so I eyed him, for I've seen the phantom ponies loping round that big corral. And I've seen my pony, Yuma. Yes, the horse that died to save me, come and nicker at the golden bars while I stood down below calling, Yuma, Yuma, Yuma. And I still wonder why God gave me such a friend, why I killed her 20 years ago. You remember, it's lonely when we used to guard the cattle, when a man could ride the line for days and camp at night alone with nothing much to do but watch that sun rise up for battle and not a soul to talk to, or what's even worse, his own. So I taught my pony many tricks. She was near human. She'd rear shake hands or pick up anything I dropped till she grew as interested and as gentle as a woman, just to have me praise and pet her. But one day the teaching stopped. You see, 3 rustlers from the notch rode up. I knew there'd be trouble, but I sat my pony easy and I rolled a cigarette. And we talked about the rodeo when, like a bursting bubble, the leader opened up the fight. I felt my arm grow wet. It's 3-1, but Yuma, like a rock, stood to that thunder, for she seemed to know my need. 2 empty saddles when the one that first tried me spurred up close and swung up under, and I swear I saw the trail to heaven in the muzzle of that gun. Well, I flinched. I played the coward. Up! I called in at my call and reared my pony. She took his shot. I leveled quick, and twice I answered in the smoke. I saw his twisted figure falling. And I felt my Yuma quiver. 20 years, I paid the price for my life. Yes, hell and Texas leave the hoof marks on some faces, and we, the riders of the ranges, each of us has played his part. 20 years, he whispered slowly. 20 years. Many places. But I've never worn the prints from Yuma's hoof marks from my heart. So now, I'm the walking man, forever. But I still dream of mighty ranges, and the silent mountain meadows, and the glory of the stars, and I see the phantom ponies in the dawn and sunset changes, and I hear my Yuma nicker just behind them golden bars. Sunny summer day it was, while loping into Laramie. I overtook the walking man. I reined up, nodded how. He walked beside me for a while, scarcely was aware of me, but you know, I believe I understand him. You see, I know his story now.
never-ending canyon, such a long way where you are. On the trail of old Chief Joseph to the cold Camas Prairie, I hear you calling from afar. Your Purple Heart, bronze star. Walk the woods there behind your son, my own lucky rifle in my hand. We laugh and wander like soldiers on the run, hunting down an outlaw Indian band, where they made their final stand. And Charlie, can we talk about the war tonight? Did you really kill 500 men?
glisten in the mortar light. Would you go back there again with that damned old Agent Orange in your blood and that twist of old Montana in your scar? Will you dig out that old Colt 45, your Purple Heart Bronze Star? Years on the mountain, mapping out the bob, Morgan horses on the trails. Them old canvas wall tents don't hold out grizzly bears, but that old pistol never failed, and the best outfitter never tells. And Charlie, can we talk about the war tonight? Did you really kill 500 men? Did their eyes glisten in the mortar light? Would you go back there again with that damned old Agent Orange in your blood and that twist of old Montana in your scar? Will you dig out that old Colt 45, Purple Heart Bronze Star? Gotta go now. I make my living singing songs of men like you. This music business, it's like a war, man. They'll kill 1 million before they're through. My songs are red, white, and blue for you. And Charlie, can we talk about the war tonight? Did you really kill 500 men? Did their eyes glisten in the mortar light? Would you go back there again with that damned old Agent Orange in your blood and that twist of old Montana in your scars? Will you dig out that old Colt 45, your Purple Heart and Bronze Star?
This is a stop and smell the roses song. Because my tendency is, if things aren't really going the way that I think that they should be going, my first response is often get a bigger hammer. Sometimes that's not what is required, of course. Sometimes you just gotta take a deep breath and step back and look at where you are, how far you've come. I mean, God, 30 years. 30 years. the Elko Poetry Gathering. It's astounding. Up and down economies, a number of talk show hosts, and here we still are. And we're going to keep going. It's wonderful. So you got to step back, take a breath, appreciate where you are, how you got there, and who you got there with. It's no use running around. Too many people sing that tune. Slow up, ease her on down. You're never gonna catch the moon. Sometimes you gotta let it go. You know you're never gonna make it rain. It's all about the ebb and flow. It's bound to turn around again. Free and easy, like the wind in your hair. Free and that's gonna get you there. Okay, so it's free and easy, just like the wind in your hair. Free and easy, that's gonna get you there. It's only like 8 or 9 words. I made it really, really simple because in a lot of places that we play, alcohol is sometimes involved. I want to make sure that everybody can still get behind the song, so try it with me. We're gonna do it again. Here it comes around. Join me, here we go. Free and easy, like the wind in your hair. Free and easy, that's gonna get you there. It's about what I figured. Some of you sang. Some of you didn't do doodly squat. You know who you are. It's just a song, guys. It's not a commitment. What we're looking for is volume, not quality. We're looking for volume. Here we go. Let's try it. Free and easy, like the wind in your hair. Free and easy, that's gonna get you there. There it is. The whole world is much too loud. You can't hear a blessed thing. But there's a harp above the clouds. Listen to the songs you sing. Rattle your wagon, you've already made it this far. Nobody needs you to slay any dragons or try to count the stars. Oh, they need you free and easy, like the wind in your hair. Free and easy, that's gonna get you there. Free and easy,
We were trotting home for dinner. Our day thus far had been a winter. We'd been turning out some pears on railroad lease. I was riding with old Jim, and if I was asked to describe him, I'd have to say he was a cowboy masterpiece. We stopped to let our horses blow when in a canyon down below we spied a neighbor doing battle with a steer. The brood had sold and brushed up thick in some willows near the creek. A full-scale war had been declared, and that was clear. Now, I'd had cattle sold on me, and it was obvious to see that a reconciliation wouldn't come, and from experience, I knew if he continued to pursue that fight, there'd be one of them hurt before it's done. Jim just rolled himself a smoke and snickered like it was a joke while we both sat and watched this feller fight his head. That cowboy'd cuss and froth and yelp. I suppose we should go and help, but old Jim then got philosophical and said, if he'd just let that brute calm down then, bring an old cow back around, that steer likely follow it to Oregon. I ain't saying it's wrong to fight if you've got to, and you're right, but before you do, it's good to know what side you're on. Like when we was maybe 6 and 9, me and my brother was inclined to get ourselves in trouble while we were trying to be good. Oh, it'd be our fault. Sure enough, it'd be innocent young kid stuff that would oftentimes just be misunderstood. Like one hot day, we'd gone to church. In a pew, we took a perch. It had been raining and the air was thick and wet, which made it hard to stay awake, because about as much as we could take with the snoring and the preaching and the sweat. Well, the gal who sat in front of him and me had perspired profusely. And when she rose, her clothes were clinging, so to speak. Adding to this situation, on closer examination, we saw her dress had lodged itself between her cheeks. Sure looked uncomfortable in there. We couldn't help ourselves but stare, and being just waist high, we really saw it good. Not being one to leave things be, my brother pulls the dress out free, alleviating the whole problem where she stood. Well, she turns quick. He just smiled, never dreaming she'd be riled, but instead of thanks, she hit him with her purse, which knocked my brother to the ground. She glared at me, then turned around. Folks, things was bad. But trying to help, I made it worse. See, I'd known something made her mad to hit my brother like she had, and I figured it must be that dress, confound it. So using sweat marks for a guide, I turned my whole hand on his side and I slipped it right back in the way she found it. This time it was me that felt her wrath, which knocked my senses off their back. I carry purse scars with me to this day. I guess we got what we were doing. When we finally come to, I learned a lesson I'm going to share with you today. It ain't always smart to offer aid to situations you ain't made. History tells me not to fight that losing battle. It's like my daddy always said, son, sometimes best quit while you're ahead, because there ain't no figuring women or sold up cattle.
I spent so much time writing a set list for tonight. Yeah, I've become mindful of the back of my britches here. This song is totally irrelevant on a show called Anthems Past and Future. But what the heck? This is a song that is a title song for a Christmas record that I have, and Christmas records are marketable for 2 months every year, and this song is really not relevant before Christmas, it's sort of relevant for a little bit of time after Christmas, which is when people don't really want to buy any Christmas records anymore. So, forgive me, I can't help myself. It's a cold, cold place, 6 months till dawn. Toys all delivered, but Christmas is gone. There ain't much to do at 36 below. Saddle up the reindeer and have a rodeo. Shake the holiday blues wearing cowboy boots and faded denim tights. Watch a Rudolph bucket hill for two right through the northern lights. And there ain't no better show in an arena made of snow than Santa's North Pole Rodeo. Here they go. Yodelay, 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 yodelay. Seen a bareback ride till you've seen an elf on a polar bear's backside. I tried to toss a loop around a slick wet seal or hog-tie narwhal. Man, that's a slippery deal. You shake the holiday blues wearing cowboy boots and faded denim tights. You watch Rudolph bucking hill for two right through the northern lights. And there ain't no better show in an arena made of snow than Santa's North Pole Rodeo. One more time. Yodelay, 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 yodelay. Oh, you don't have to do it. You're too kind. You know, when it comes to yodeling, my friend Wiley Gustafson says, Brenn's a really nice guy.
Wow. Seem to have left the theme behind somehow. So I'm going to try to suck up to the girls. I wrote this for you, ladies, because it occurred to me that a lot of you like horses a lot. We just did a show in Santa Barbara. When I die, I want to come back as a horse there. If you're a horse there, all you have to do is stand around a really nice pen all day, and eventually a pretty girl will come and get you and tie you up. And groom you. And feed you carrots and then sit on you. I don't know about you, but I have a hard time finding the downside to that. Come ride with me. It's time to saddle up and ride away. There's so much to see. Don't worry, I know the trail, I know the way. I caught a gentle horse, his eyes are big and brown. He's ready to carry you the whole world around. Come ride with me. Let's ride away. Come take a chance. I'll show you where the mountains touch the sky. It's a horseback dance. We can ride forever if we
try. A dream in the distance is there for you to chase. Out in the sunrise with the wind on your face, come ride with me. Let's ride away. The smell of the leather, the sunlight on your skin, got us aching to begin. The rumble of heartbeats much stronger than wine. The dust in your hair, all the light in your eyes. Come ride with me, we'll run the hills and watch the eagles soar. It's where you wanna be. Tell me just what you're waiting for. I will camp near the meadow and love the night away, and saddle up again when the dawn is turning gray. Come ride with me. Let's ride away. First came into town here, I saw Wadi, I think it was Monday afternoon. And he said, Dave, I got a question for you. And I said, what's that, Wadi? He said, that Come Ride With Me song, why did you want to put Madonna in that song? I said, wow, I don't think I did. I don't believe I've ever written a song with Madonna in it in my life. And he said, yeah, it's that last verse. You talk about you're going to camp near a meadow and love the night away, and then you're going to saddle up again when Madonna's turning gray. I said, well, I'll be damned. Madonna turning gray. That doesn't make any sense at all, does it? Because you know that's never going to happen. The smell of the leather, the sunlight on your skin, got us aching to begin. The rumble of heartbeats much stronger than wine. The dust in your hair, all the light in your eyes. Come ride with me, I will run the hills and watch the eagles soar. It's where you need to be. Tell me just what you're waiting for. I will camp near the meadow and we'll love the night away, and saddle up again when Madonna's turning gray. Come ride with me. Let's ride away. Come ride with me. Yeah, come ride with me. Yeah, come ride with me.
A beautiful lady and good friend of mine, Jana Lee Martin, and I kind of got together on this one. On clean night air is like its spare there spreads a mournful tune as old as blood. It flows and floods the world where cowboys croon. Weaned by a fence, one calf laments its mother's comforting. That brooding hum of grief becomes the sound a cowboy sings. Moonbeams chase a coyote's face tipped back to read the stars. Its tale of woe to friend and foe resounds between the bars. Campfire light holds back the night and sparks chatter like old friends. It's a comfort zone that sets the tone where mood and time transcend. You're feeling old. Stiff joints scold as under tarp you climb, but soon you'll drift as thought gusts sift the ashes of your mind. And you'll carry back where fiddlers hack out near forgotten strains of hope and chance and youth and dance, of innocence and pain. It's strange how songs from days long gone rekindle joys thought dead, and how other tunes can open wounds, sounds in a cowboy's head. Your memory swarm as pending storm predicts its own onset. You rewrite bronc, re-honky-tonk, reword, rethink, regret. You'll never die. Hell, you're young and spry, you're bullet and 100 proof. Dreams blend so well it becomes hard to tell your musings from the truth. Then lightning spark splits wide the darkened sky, drums echo loud, limbs crack and break as old Zeus rakes cold moisture from a cloud. That wrath unfurled defines your world. Through it all you doze, while embers hiss at Aqua's kiss. All sounds a cowboy knows. You'll rise at dawn, be moving on for winter rides the air. You'll pack up camp, roll bedroll damp, but home ain't anywhere. You'll contemplate the whims of fate. It's been your map for years, and they've become your wife. No, your whole life, the sounds a cowboy hears.
It's been one of the highest honors of my life to be here at the 30th anniversary gathering and to participate here in this show with these two fine men. And they're both role models for me and mentors and friends. This song was a poem that took Wadi about 40 years to write, I guess. And I hope I do it justice here tonight. Staunch in conviction, heart twisted and ancient, surveying the world from its perch in the cold. Bristlecone pine through millennia watching as new chapters open on stories of old. It watched as their young ones were schooled in tradition, watched generations each march off to war, then watched as their soldiers returned broken-hearted, longing to sleep as they once had before. But war's never over, and memory dreams, and innocence lost ain't important, it seems. After woke being soaked through in the sweat, fear and screams, which make both your head and heart pound. You still drop at the start of a sound, 'cause you're stuck on some old battleground. The bristlecone whispers the wind in the valley, the wisdom of ages that live on the shelf. Our humans are warlike by nature, and oddly the only real threat to their kind is their self. They war over thought, they war for religion, they war for a prize just the size of a throne. How many more young will they send off to battle before they start helping the heart to get home? War's never over in memory or dreams, and life ain't as precious as claimed, so it seems. After woke being soaked through in sweat, fear and screams, and a pain worse than most can conceive. Trying hard to hold on and believe, but feeling forgotten to see. Dying of PTSD. The bristlecone whispers to wind in the valley, surveying the world from its perch in the cold. Twisted and ancient through millennia, it'll watch you as a new generation is ready for war.
Brenn Hill, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Dave Stamey, I'm Waddie Mitchell. If I may say good night to you and thank you for helping the 30th be the best ever for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Brenn. And Wadi, I want to give such a great thank you to you from this organization and from everyone who comes. And before we leave, I'd like to ask one more round of applause, please, for Barrick Gold of North America, who brought us this show tonight. Now, don't you all leave and go to bed. There's a dance around the corner at midnight. There's another dance that starts at the Western Folklife Center. You are just getting started.